Echelon got a positive ID on your target from the morgue security cameras. A guy named Vyacheslav Grinko.
How do I find him?
By his license plate.
And if he's not with his car?
Then his driver will be. Grab him and make him talk. Don't be afraid to use force.
Who? Me?
Before Sam Fisher was a grizzled veteran, before the gadgets became synonymous with his name, and before the series splintered into varying gameplay styles, there was the original Splinter Cell, a game released in 2002 that wasn't just a stealth experience, but a masterclass in manipulating light and shadow. More than just a mechanic, the interplay between these two elements was the very soul of the game, setting it apart from its contemporaries and establishing a benchmark for the genre. Forget the run-and-gun antics of other action titles. Splinter Cell demanded patience, observation, and a genuine understanding of how light behaved. Sam Fisher, a stealth operative of the Third Echelon, wasn't a super soldier. He was a predator of the darkness, relying on it to move unseen. Light wasn't just illumination. It was an enemy, a beacon revealing his presence and spelling certain doom. The game's design wasn't afraid to be stark with its message. Light was your weakness, shadow your ally. In the early 2000s, many games dabbled with stealth, but Splinter Cell implemented it with a mechanical rigor and almost puritanical adherence to realism. The iconic light meter, a three-pronged display on the HUD, wasn't just a visual aid. It was the very pulse of the game. Watching it flicker between deep black and searing white was a constant reminder of Sam's exposure. This wasn't about conveniently placed hiding spots. The game forced players to assess each environment to understand the interplay between light sources, from the glare of a searchlight to the gentle glow of a table lamp, and find the slivers of darkness they could exploit. It was a lesson in spatial awareness, forcing players to think like a spy, analyzing every shadow for its potential. This focus on light and darkness gave Splinter Cell a unique rhythm. The game wasn't about quick reflexes, it was about calculated movement. You wouldn't simply sprint from cover to cover. You'd meticulously creep through the shadows, hugging walls, and making your way slowly through corridors as your light meter indicated that you were hidden. Each patrol route, each strategically placed light, became an intricate dance. You learned to anticipate how guards would move, how their flashlights would sweep across the room, and how to use the environment to your advantage. Turning off a light source became a tactical decision, not just an aesthetic one, creating your own pathways through the darkness. The interplay of light and darkness wasn't just a gameplay mechanic, it was also a narrative tool. The stark lighting, often contrasting deep shadows with harsh fluorescent light, created a sense of tension and vulnerability, mirroring the precarious nature of Sam's mission. The quiet, deliberate pacing was a stark contrast to the frantic action of other games, highlighting the patience and precision required of a master spy. Even today, Splinter Cell's original focus on light and darkness remains a powerful example of how a single mechanic can elevate an entire game. It wasn't just about hiding in shadows, it was about understanding the very essence of stealth, the need to control your visibility and manipulate the environment to your advantage. While later Splinter Cell titles experimented with different gameplay styles, the original's laser focus on light and darkness remains a timeless testament to the power of elegant game design. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful mechanics are the ones that focus on the fundamentals, creating an experience that is both challenging and deeply rewarding. And it all started with understanding that in the world of espionage, darkness is your greatest ally, and light, your most dangerous enemy.
Here's a cultural opportunity for you. The birthplace of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
So this is where all that peace and love came from.
Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, the second installment in the groundbreaking stealth franchise, solidified the series' place in gaming history. Building on the success of its predecessor, Pandora Tomorrow delivered a refined, tense, and compelling experience that pushed the boundaries of stealth gameplay and cemented Sam Fisher as a true icon. Released in 2004, Pandora Tomorrow plunged players back into the murky world of espionage, introducing the charismatic but deadly Indonesian guerrilla leader, Sahadi Sudono. This former U.S.-trained operative, now turned radical nationalist, threatens to unleash a deadly bioweapon, sparking chaos and plunging the US into a state of panic. It's up to Sam Fisher, the seasoned Splinter Cell, agent of Third Echelon, to infiltrate his organization, uncover his plans, and neutralize the threat before it's too late. Pandora Tomorrow didn't reinvent the wheel, but it honed it to a razor's edge. The core gameplay remained focused on utilizing darkness, sound, and strategic movement to avoid detection. However, subtle but significant improvements elevate the experience. The inclusion of the SWAT turn, a quick and agile maneuver allowing Fisher to rapidly change direction, significantly improved his responsiveness and agility. Enhanced lighting and shadow effects created a more dynamic and believable environment, making the player's understanding and manipulation of light even more crucial for survival. Furthermore, the AI received a considerable overhaul, making enemies more perceptive and adaptable. They reacted more realistically to disturbances, communicated more effectively, and employed more varied patrol routes, forcing players to remain constantly vigilant and adapt their strategies accordingly. Beyond the refined gameplay mechanics, Pandora Tomorrow excelled in its narrative. The story explored complex themes of political manipulation, the unintended consequences of foreign intervention, and the moral gray areas inherent in espionage. Sahadi Sedona was not simply a mustache-twirling villain. He was a complex character with a believable motivation, adding depth and nuance to the conflict. Fisher's interactions with his support team, Lambert and Anna Grimsdottir, provided valuable context and often forced him to make difficult decisions with significant repercussions. The game challenged players to consider the ethical implications of their actions, raising questions about the cost of national security and the sacrifices required to maintain peace.
We just want the guns and the money, Saul. We'll take your life too if we have to, but we don't want it. We have no choice. We need to have them dead.
Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow's impact on the stealth genre remains undeniable. Its emphasis on realistic environments, sophisticated AI, and mature storytelling set a new standard for the genre. The game's influence can be seen in countless titles that followed, from the Metal Gear Solid series to the more recent Deus Ex games. However, perhaps its most significant contribution lies in its refined gameplay mechanics and its continued emphasis on the importance of darkness and sound. These elements, which remain core tenets of the Splinter Cell franchise, help to define a unique and compelling stealth experience that continues to resonate with players today. Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow stands as a testament to the power of refined gameplay, compelling storytelling, and a commitment to immersion. It is a masterclass in stealth that continues to captivate players with its tense atmosphere, challenging gameplay, and thought-provoking narrative. For fans of the genre, or anyone looking for a thrilling and rewarding gaming experience, Pandora Tomorrow remains a must-play classic that deserves its place in the pantheon of gaming greats.
Talk, but talk quietly.
I'll tell you anything. I'm the biggest coward you've ever met.
That's quite a claim.
Splinter Cell. The name conjures images of dimly lit corridors, the satisfying thwack of silenced weapons, and the heart-pounding tension of slipping past enemy patrols. While the series has seen its ups and downs, one entry consistently rises above the crowd: Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Released in 2005, it's not just a good stealth game, it's a masterclass of design, atmosphere, and player agency that continues to influence the genre today. Chaos Theory throws players back into the shoes of Sam Fisher, the grizzled Third Echelon agent tasked with preventing a devastating information war between Japan, Korea, and the United States. The narrative, while complex and politically charged, serves as a compelling backdrop for the game's core strengths: its gameplay. Unlike its predecessors, Chaos Theory empowers players with unprecedented freedom. Levels are vast and intricate, offering multiple paths to the objective. Do you choose to ghost your way through, leaving no trace, or you prefer a more aggressive approach, utilizing non-lethal takedowns and environmental manipulation? The choice is yours. This freedom comes with consequences. Unlike previous entries where alert levels reset more easily, escalating conflicts in Chaos Theory have lasting effects. A sloppy mission can lead to increased enemy presence and altered patrol routes, making subsequent encounters even more challenging. This dynamic system forces players to carefully consider their actions, fostering a sense of responsibility that elevates the experience beyond simple button mashing.
Did you find any?
No!
Where haven't you looked?
I haven't checked the phones yet.
I'll check there.
Chaos Theory boasts a refined set of mechanics that contribute to its immersive realism. Sam Fisher's movement is fluid and responsive, allowing for seamless transitions between sneaking, climbing, and combat. The addition of the combat knife provides a brutal yet efficient tool for dealing with unsuspecting guards. The light and shadow system, already a cornerstone of the series, is further enhanced, allowing for strategic manipulation of darkness. Players can extinguish lights, disable security cameras, and use the environment to their advantage, creating opportunities for silent takedowns and strategic positioning. Beyond the gameplay mechanics, Chaos Theory excels in creating a palpable atmosphere of tension and dread. From the rain-soaked streets of Panama to the eerie silence of a Korean bathhouse, each location is meticulously crafted, dripping with detail and atmosphere. The sound design is equally impressive. Michael McCann's haunting soundtrack perfectly complements the on-screen action, creating a constant sense of unease. Environmental sounds, like creaking floorboards and distant conversations, provide valuable clues and heighten the sense of immersion.
There.
Almost 2 decades after its release, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory remains a benchmark for stealth games. Its emphasis on player agency, its refined mechanics, and its unforgettable atmosphere have cemented its legacy as a true classic. While the Splinter Cell series awaits its revival, Chaos Theory stands as a testament to the power of intelligent design, challenging gameplay, and a commitment to delivering a truly immersive stealth experience. Perhaps the most enduring aspect of Chaos Theory is its ability to make you feel like Sam Fisher. It's not just about sneaking. It's about analyzing the situation, making informed decisions, and executing your plan with precision. It's about being the silent, deadly predator that defines the Splinter Cell experience. And in that regard, Chaos Theory reigns supreme.
I think they're in a meeting. Why?
I just heard that Carl was looking for him.
Open the door or we'll blow it open. This is your only warning. He's not gonna do it. Let's move in while we've got him cornered.
Few video game franchises have captured the essence of stealth action quite like Splinter Cell. With its focus on realistic espionage, innovative gadgets, and a morally gray protagonist, the series carved out a unique space in the gaming landscape. While the main entries found success on consoles and PC, one particular iteration aimed to bring the stealthy thrills to an handheld audience. Splinter Cell Essentials on the PlayStation Portable PSP. Released in 2006, Splinter Cell Essentials attempted to shrink the core Splinter Cell experience down to a pocket-sized format. The game aimed to deliver the familiar gameplay mechanics, narrative intrigue, and iconic character of Sam Fisher, all within the limitations of the PSP hardware. However, the results proved to be a mixed bag, offering moments of brilliance intertwined with frustrating concessions. Essentials attempted to fill in gaps in Sam Fisher's timeline, specifically after the events of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory and before Double Agent. The narrative sees Fisher imprisoned and interrogated about his past missions, leading players through a series of flashbacks. This structure allowed the game to revisit key moments from previous titles while also introducing new scenarios and characters. While the story attempted to explore the emotional toll of Fisher's work and his difficult choices, it often felt disjointed and less impactful compared to the main entries. The core gameplay of Splinter Cell Essentials retained the series' focus on stealth, utilizing shadows, gadgets, and close-quarters combat to navigate the enemy-filled environments. Fisher could still perform his signature split jumps, wall jumps, and interrogations. However, the limitations of the PSP controls presented significant challenges. The PSP's single analog stick made movement and aiming noticeably less precise than on consoles. This was particularly problematic during firefights, forcing players to rely more on stealth takedowns and avoiding direct confrontation whenever possible. The game also simplified some of the more complex actions, such as lockpicking and hacking, to streamline the experience for the handheld format. The PSP's hardware posed a significant hurdle for recreating the visual fidelity of the console's Splinter Cell games. Environments were simplified, textures were muddier, and character models lacked the detail of their counterparts. While the game was visually competent for the PSP, it couldn't escape the limitations of the platform. The sound design, while functional, also felt somewhat lacking. The iconic voice acting of Michael Ironside as Sam Fisher helped to maintain some of the series' atmosphere, but the overall audio experience was less immersive compared to the console releases.
Anna, you read.
I'm here, Sam. What happened? There was an explosion.
Despite its limitations, Splinter Cell Essentials offered some notable highlights. The level design, while simplified, often provided opportunities for creative stealth tactics. The inclusion of familiar gadgets like the sticky camera and optic cable allowed players to maintain situational awareness and plan their attacks. However, the game also suffered from several shortcomings. The aforementioned control issues made precise movement challenging, leading to frustrating moments where players would accidentally trigger alarms or get spotted by enemies. The AI could also be inconsistent, with enemies sometimes exhibiting baffling poor awareness. Splinter Cell Essentials ultimately carved out a mixed legacy. It attempted to bring the core Splinter Cell experience to a handheld audience, but the limitations of the PSP hardware forced compromises that impacted gameplay and presentation. While dedicated fans of the series may appreciate the attempt to fill in gaps in Sam Fisher's narrative, newcomers might find the game less appealing compared to the more polished console entries. In conclusion, Splinter Cell Essentials remains a curious footnote in the Splinter Cell franchise. It's a testament to the ambition of bringing AAA experiences to handheld platforms, but also a reminder of the challenges involved in adapting complex gameplay mechanics to a less powerful and less ergonomic format. While not a definitive Splinter Cell experience, it offered a glimpse of stealth action on the go, albeit with a few compromises along the way. Splinter Cell Double Agent, released in 2006, wasn't just another installment in the franchise. It was a bold experiment, a daring deconstruction of the stealth genre that forced players to confront uncomfortable moral choices. While reception was initially divided due to differing versions across platforms, the core premise of Double Agent, living a double life within a terrorist group while simultaneously serving your government, cemented its place as a landmark title in modern espionage gaming. Forget the clear-cut good versus evil narratives of its predecessors. In Double Agent, Sam Fisher isn't just eliminating targets. He's infiltrating the ranks of the John Brown's Army, JBA, a dangerous terrorist organization with a legitimate albeit twisted cause. To maintain his cover, Fisher must commit morally reprehensible acts, choosing between satisfying the JBA's demands and fulfilling the objectives laid out by his handlers at Third Echelon. This creates a constant tension, forcing players to wrestle with their own conscience and the potential consequences of their actions. The brilliance of Double Agent lies in its trust system. Both Third Echelon and the JBA have trust bars that fluctuate depending on your choices. Bombing a shipping yard, as ordered by the JBA, might increase their trust, but drastically lowers Third Echelons, potentially leading to intel cutoffs or even fatal betrayals. This innovative mechanic injected a level of depth and consequence rarely seen in games at the time. Every decision, no matter how small, rippled through the narrative, influencing the ending and even impacting the lives of key characters. The game expertly utilizes this system to create genuine moments of anxiety. Do you alert the JBA to an approaching raid, potentially saving their lives but betraying your country? Do you sabotage their operations, risking exposure and a swift execution? The weight of these decisions is palpable, forcing players to genuinely embody the role of a double agent, constantly weighing the risks and rewards of each action.
Give me.
While the core stealth gameplay remains solid, adapting the franchise's signature blend of shadow manipulation and gadgetry to new environments, Double Agent distinguishes itself through its strong emphasis on character development, particularly for Sam Fisher. We witness a more vulnerable and introspective Fisher still grappling with the loss of his daughter and pushed to his breaking point by the demands of his mission. He develops genuine relationships with members of the JBA, further blurring the lines between right and wrong and making the ultimate betrayals even more impactful. Despite some technical shortcomings and the contrasting versions on different platforms, the core concept of Double Agent remains incredibly compelling. Its mature themes, complex moral dilemmas, and innovative trust system elevated it beyond a simple stealth action game. It challenged players to question their own values and consider the price of national security. While recent Splinter Cell entries have strayed from this narrative complexity, Double Agent serves as a potent reminder of the franchise's potential. It's a game that continues to resonate with players, not just for its gameplay mechanics, but for its willingness to explore the darker corners of espionage and the human cost of deception. In an era of increasingly homogenized narratives, Splinter Cell Double Agent stands as a testament to the power of morally ambiguous storytelling and the enduring appeal of a well-crafted spy thriller. Perhaps with the rumored new Splinter Cell project on the horizon, we'll see a return to the complex and morally challenging gameplay that made Double Agent such a memorable and impactful experience.
Where am I going?
You'll find out when you get there.
Man, did you see that list of meds Corbin wants?
Splinter Cell Conviction, released in 2010, marked a dramatic departure for the stealth franchise, polarizing fans while simultaneously drawing in a new audience. Gone were the methodical, shadow-drenched halls of Third Echelon's headquarters. In their place, a raw, brutal, and intensely personal revenge story unfolded, forging a new identity for Sam Fisher and redefining the core tenets of the series. The game kicks off with a broken Sam Fisher, haunted by the apparent death of his daughter, Sarah. No longer a government operative, he's a rogue agent, driven by a primal need for answers and retribution. This shift in motivation is immediately apparent in the gameplay. While stealth still formed the foundation, Conviction encouraged a more aggressive approach. The traditional Splinter Cell mechanics were streamlined and augmented. The iconic sticky cam and complex gadgetry were largely replaced with a more intuitive mark and execute system. This allowed players to tag multiple enemies and dispatch them in a single cinematic burst of gunfire, creating a satisfying sense of power and control. Cover took center stage, becoming an essential tool for both evasion and offense. The last known position feature, which projected a ghostly silhouette of Sam onto the environment, allowed players to manipulate enemy patrol routes and plan their attacks more strategically. But the real departure lay in the game's interrogation sequences. These brutal, visceral moments saw Sam extracting information from his targets, using the environment itself, slamming them against sinks, shoving their faces into toilets, and utilizing any nearby object to leverage the truth. These moments, though controversial, underscore the depth of Sam's grief and his willingness to cross lines he once wouldn't have considered. Conviction's changes were met with mixed reactions. Purists lamented the loss of meticulous planning and the over-reliance on action. They argued that the game has sacrificed the core principles of Splinter Cell in favor of a more mainstream action-oriented experience. However, others praised the game's refreshing take on the formula. They lauded the compelling story, the intuitive gameplay mechanics, and the grittier, more relatable depiction of Sam Fisher. The narrative felt personal and emotionally charged, making players truly invested in his quest for vengeance. The mark and execute system, while simplifying combat, offered a uniquely satisfying and strategic approach to taking down enemies. Despite the differing opinions, Splinter Cell Conviction undeniably left its mark on the franchise and the stealth genre as a whole. Its emphasis on a compelling narrative and intuitive gameplay helped broaden the series' appeal. The mark and execute system, while not universally loved, influenced subsequent stealth games, showcasing the potential for a more dynamic and accessible approach to the genre. While the future of the Splinter Cell franchise remains uncertain, Conviction stands as a bold and unforgettable entry. It reimagined Sam Fisher as a vulnerable, driven, and ultimately more human character, paving the way for future iterations to explore the complexities of moral and the blurred lines between justice and revenge. Whether you loved it or hated it, Splinter Cell Conviction offered a compelling and memorable experience that continues to spark debate and discussion among fans to this day. It's a reminder that even the most established franchises can benefit from taking risks and pushing the boundaries of what's expected. The question is, will we ever see a return to either the classic stealth of earlier games or the brutal personalized action of Conviction? Only time will tell.
Told you this would get messy.
Splinter Cell Blacklist marked a pivotal moment in the storied stealth franchise, attempting to reconcile the series' hardcore stealth roots with a more action-oriented modern gameplay experience. Released in 2013, the game saw Sam Fisher, now leading the newly formed 4th Echelon, racing against the clock to stop a terrorist group known as the Engineers from executing a devastating attack on US soil, the Blacklist itself. Blacklist distinguished itself by offering players a compelling degree of choice in how they approached each mission. Gone were the rigidly linear paths of some of the earlier entries. Instead, the game presented a more open-ended design, allowing operatives to tailor their playstyle to one of the 3 distinct approaches: Ghost, Panther, and Assault. Emphasizing pure stealth, the Ghost archetype rewarded players for completing missions without being detected, leaving no trace and disabling enemies non-lethally. This approach harked back to the classic Splinter Cell experience, demanding careful planning, masterful manipulation of shadows, and utilizing gadgets like sticky cams to monitor enemy movements. A more lethal, yet still clandestine approach, the Panther blended stealth with calculated aggression, quick, silent takedowns, utilizing shadows for cover, and prioritizing efficiency over outright avoidance were hallmarks of this playstyle. The iconic knife and lethal gadgets became essential tools for the Panther. While arguably deviating from the series' core tenets, the Assault approach allowed players to engage in direct firefights, utilizing cover mechanics and a wide arsenal of weapons. While frowned upon by purists, it's offered a viable option for players less inclined to meticulously plan their every move or simply looking for a more high-octane experience. This freedom to choose was further amplified by the game's upgrade system. Earning money and experience allowed players to customize Sam's suit, weapons, and gadgets, further specializing their character towards their preferred playstyle. A Ghost player might invest in noise-reducing boots and improved optical camouflage, while an assault player would prioritize weapon attachments and armor plating. Blacklist introduced the Paladin, a mobile command center that served as a hub between missions. From here, players could access the SMI, Strategic Mission Interface, allowing them to choose their next objective, upgrade their equipment, and interact with their team Anna Grimsdaughter, Isaac Briggs, and Charlie Cole. The SMI offered a range of side missions and challenges that further expanded the game's replayability. These missions often catered to specific playstyles, encouraging players to experiment with different approaches and master the game's mechanics. While Blacklist's attempts to broaden its appeal were generally well received, it wasn't without its detractors. The replacement of Michael Ironside as the voice of Sam Fisher was a point of contention for many longtime fans. Additionally, some felt the emphasis on action compromised the series' identity. Despite the controversies, Splinter Cell Blacklist remains a significant entry in the franchise. Its refined gameplay mechanics, robust customization options, and focus on player choice made it a compelling and replayable experience. Blacklist's influence can be seen in subsequent stealth games, which have increasingly adopted similar approaches to player agency and mission design. Whether embraced as a welcome evolution or lamented as a departure from its roots, Splinter Cell Blacklist undeniably left its mark on the stealth genre and continues to be a subject of discussion and admiration within the Splinter Cell community. It stands as a testament to the challenges of modernizing a classic franchise while attempting to stay true to its core principles. The question remains, can the next Splinter Cell installment learn from Blacklist's success and mistakes and truly deliver the ultimate stealth experience? Only time will tell.